Hi, I'm Destiny.
I'm Max.
And I'm Laura. The title of our presentation is Guilty and Proven Innocent, Philosophy of Mind.
The purpose of this presentation is to present three different theories for the philosophy of mind.
We will also determine how each of the three theories connects to our criminal case.
We will find a plausible theory that connects more to the case and give an objection and response to our chosen theory.
So our criminal case centers around this man here, Joseph Sledge.
So Joseph Sledge was serving time on a 4-year sentence for stealing t-shirts when he escaped on the same day as the brutal murder occurred in the same area.
Sledge was convicted off of coincidence, not evidence. There was little to no evidence tying Sledge to the murder scene.
The two main things they got him on were two separate independent jailhouse informants, so people in the jail that talk to the inmates and get information for law enforcement. Two separate, independent people like that said that Sledge had confessed to them that he had done it, and that's really what the nail in the coffin for him, why he got convicted with those two pieces of evidence. So our first theory is going to be interactive substance dualism, and this is pretty much defined as just the mind and the body are two completely separate entities, yet they somehow interact to make you you. And the way we can connect this to the case is not really through Sledge, but with the jailhouse informants again. They could have heard something with their body, and then their mind could have misinterpreted it because they're there for one reason. They get this evidence, so they could have heard something, and then their minds told them, they heard what they wanted to hear. Or they could have heard the right thing, and then their mind just warp it around so that they heard exactly what they needed to get this conviction, and that's how that could have contributed to this.
Our second theory is interactionist property dualism. This theory is the mind is not its own substance. It's something smaller than the physical matter, and it tells the body what to do. In Joseph Sledge's case, he knew he didn't commit the murders, but he knew he was guilty of stealing the t-shirts and breaking out that day.
The third theory is epiphenomenalism. So what is epiphenomenalism? It is a form of property dualism. It is a one-way causal relationship between physical and mental states, meaning that the body controls the mind. So in Joseph's case, he was not in control of his actions because he was not in control of his consciousness. So the consciousness would not affect the body. So he would have been innocent either way, even if he did or did not commit the crime. This asserts that the material causes give rises to sensations. Such mental phenomena are causal dead ends. So this theory threatens to undermine choice and responsibility of actions.
So the most plausible theory, the one that we all agreed on, is the first one there, interactive substance dualism.
So what is interactive substance dualism again? So it is the mind and body are two distinct substances, yet they still interact.
So like we said earlier, since the mind and body are separate, Sledge was fully aware of stealing the shirts, but he knew he didn't kill those people.
But still, while being completely separate, they do interact, so he was in full 100% control when he knowingly committed both of those crimes.
Our first objection and response is the problem of intentionality. The problem explains how we examine our mind's ability to focus on our thoughts. With all the things going on in Sledge's head that day, how can the judge and jury expect him to focus on proving his innocence? So like we said before, he knew he didn't commit those murders, so he was trying to tell them that he was innocent throughout the whole trial, but they were filling his head with all this nonsense about false evidence, and he was fighting his own thoughts, trying to explain through all that mess how he was innocent in the end.
And the second objection is going to come from Searle's paper on the dozen faults of dualism. And it more or less is, he brings up that if the mind and body are two completely separate, independent entities, how do they interact without us knowing to really form who we are. So if they're very separate, very different things, how can we be completely unaware or even not know how they interact to make our decisions and do all that stuff?
So their objection is the problem of free will. So free will allows us to make certain decisions and actions while we know they are right or wrong. It is important because we're responsible for our actions and the consequences that come with our actions. So free will is a feature of my mind. So how can it have any effect on the physical world? Searle states, do I generally have free will or is it an illusion? Every event that happens in the physical world is determined by preceding physical events. So even if we could prove somehow that we have mental free will, it wouldn't make a difference to the behavior of my body, because the behavior of my body is caused by the preceding states of my body and the rest of the physical universe. So Joseph had free will to steal the t-shirts. He had free will to escape prison, but he did not have free will to commit the crime because he never committed it in the first place. His free will was taken away from him when he was wrongfully accused of killing the two victims. So does not interactive substance dualism violate the law of physics?
So, in conclusion, the most plausible theory of philosophy that we can tie to all of this is going to be the interactive substance dualist one.
This theory is most important because we want to understand how our mind and body interact with one another on a separate level. The court should have checked for Sledge's DNA and motive before convicting him. Sometimes our prejudices can dictate our way of thinking and cause us to subconsciously form opinions without realizing it.
So Joseph Sledge was guilty in stealing shirts and breaking out of prison, but innocent in the murder of two victims, because he knew what he was doing when he was stealing the t-shirts and breaking out of prison. He knew what the consequences would be, but he didn't know that the consequence would result into being falsely imprisoned for 37 years. So this connects to the philosophy of mind because sometimes our prejudice can get in the way of making convictions. In this case, Joseph Sledge was wrongfully imprisoned for something he didn't do.
But the overarching thing that we can really take from this example is how we can tie the philosophy of mind's theories to all criminal cases, not just Joseph's here, and how we can look at not only did this person commit the crime, but maybe why did they do it, and what would have driven them to, and maybe if juries started looking at criminal cases that way, we could, not have people sit in prison for 37 years for crimes they didn't commit, and we could have more people proven innocent and a better incarceration system as Americans.
Our references. Thank you.